Oh, YouTube's going to love that sound and music. I can tell you right now. I hope my microphone's on. Is it? Yeah, we're on. Check, 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 check. I'm trying to lower my music. I can't. There is no lower music. I have it built in. All right. Hey, folks, there we go. Hey, welcome, welcome. Hey, you know, this is. I'm very unprepared today. I'm extremely unprepared. I got everything all together last minute, and I have Walt there looking at me like, "What's going on?" I said, "I'm trying to get everything going on and working right." And anyway, welcome. This is episode number 36 of Cool Crap We Love. Do you believe it's been 36 episodes? And by the way, if there's any fans out there, there's an episode that's missing. Out of the 36, there's one that's missing. And the only way you'll figure it out is if you go to the YouTube page, youtube.com/Cool Crap We Loved. You'll find there's one episode missing. It's a secret episode that has not been played, and we're going to put it on in the future. So feel free to see if you guys are paying attention. Probably not. Anyway, this is a lot of fun. As a kid, I grew up with the Batman. By the way, it was called originally in the comic books, The Batman. And I love the campy 1960s series. And today we have a really special guest that's going to come on named Jim Beard, who is a pro expert about everything Batman. I can't wait to see him and quiz him, even though he promised I wouldn't. But so let's move on. First of all, let's bring on my co-host. You may know me as John Bat Peasy, but he today is Walt the Puzzler Papaleo. That's right. Let's see. Here he is. With lots of weight loss. There he is, Walt. How are you?
The Puzzler.
Puzzler. That's what you are. So me and you are like Fat Man and Boy Robin, right?
We're like Fat Man and Fat Man.
How's your diet going, by the way?
I blew it down in Myrtle Beach this weekend.
And is Myrtle a guy or a girl? So yeah,
it's a guy.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. Actually, Myrtle Beach was fun. You look, you got some. Either you had tan or maybe you color, or was it high blood pressure from all that food you were eating?
My guess, it's probably a combination of both.
Yeah. Okay. So listen, this is going to be the greatest because first of all, I know I'm a big fan of the Batman series as a kid, the campy versions. Yeah. But, however, I know you have this mind of insanity. You have millions of facts that are pointless and needless to know. And I know this is going to be right up your alley. So I'm going to just sit back and give you the wand and let the baton and let you do what you need to do. There you go. Oh, look, he's got the whole thing already. Back to the
back day.
Okay.
Now look at this. Look at this. Ready?
Oh, signed by
Adam West.
Adam West. Who? What about above? It says to Walter and Gail. Okay, really nice.
Adam West. And then if I had to buy.
Wow.
Boy Wonder.
Wow. I don't want to wonder what's in those shorts.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the big things about this show is that Robin, Burt Ward, had such a big manhood that they actually had to tone him down. And it was a big thing. It's in his book.
Sounds just like my career.
Yes.
Yeah. As a comedian, I've always had to tone those things down.
You would have been done in '66, by the way. They would have threw you out.
Don't give me that much credit. So, this is interesting, too, because I grew up as a kid in the 60s, and the Batman series was I loved it. I loved it. I couldn't wait to see it. And I used to love go out in the street and make believe you were punching and powering and fighting like Batman and Robin. It was so much fun. And now, I don't know about you. You were a kid of the 60s as well. I'm assuming you were a big fan. So did you actually meet then to get that sign from Adam West?
I went to one of those. There was a book signing somewhere in Secaucus, and they had Adam West there, Burt Ward, but they were feuding, so they were on different sides of the table.
Get out of here! They were feuding.
Yeah, they didn't something happened. Jim might know why they were fighting, but also I have the movie. Remember the movie, the '66 movie that came out, where all the villains met and they shrunk the whatchamacallit, United Nations down to powder.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, I was very excited when that movie came out, by the way.
Right. So I had that movie on VHS cassette. So I brought there, and I got Frank Gorshin signed it, the Riddler.
Wow.
Lee Merriweather, the Catwoman.
What did she look like then?
She looked good. She
Really?
looked good because that was back in the 80s. So she was still,
Right.
probably 50 back then, 40.
I
And one
thought all
other
those
person.
women were hot in that series when I was a kid. I remember thinking like Catwoman and what's his name, the deputy's the commissioner's daughter who played Batgirl.
Barbara Gordon, Batgirl,
Barbara
yeah.
Gordon, she was cute as hell too. I remember thinking,
She's still cute, man.
yeah.
I mean,
But
she's
everyone's
dead. but
oh,
she's
they're
cute.
all dead. They're all dead. Yeah.
No,
Robin.
Burt Ward is not dead, in which I'm a little angry because I asked him more than once to come on this show, more than once, and he
Do you
wouldn't
know
do it.
how many times he's been asked to come on and talk about
I don't
Batman?
care.
He's probably
Not like this.
enough. He's like the old Jewish. Enough with the Batman already. Enough with the Batman.
And Julie Newmar is alive. The first Catwoman.
Oh, really? I didn't know she was still alive. Wow.
Yeah, she's still alive. She don't look as good, but she's alive. Everybody
Anyways,
else.
at least you got to meet Adam West because he was
did.
great. He really was great. So I don't even know where we're going to go. When are we going to bring in Jim here later? Because I have a million questions for Jim. But what you and I could, we could do hours about a show like this. I mean, this is.
Oh yeah.
It was big as a kid. I mean, I wanted to let you know. I was thinking about this last night before because I do lots of prep on these shows. I'm like very
on these shows.
Yes, I do. So I looked up some stuff about this because I remember as a kid, I was fascinated by the Batcave and the stuff that they had. And the Batcave was so cool. I mean, to have like in your house a little pole you could slide down and be in this place with all these technological. And by the way, the technology back then, talk about campy, was everything had a button. It was listed and written with the name on it.
Bat computer had said Bat computer on it.
Yeah, everything was listed. And it always had like a plaque, like that 1960s plaque that you put on the door that says like men's room.
They had I think one time they were analyzing an umbrella, the Penguin's umbrella, and it was like the Bat umbrella analyzer.
Yeah.
And it had a sign on it. I was
he always had everything in his belt. Everything he needed was like right now.
Utility belt.
At the moment. The utility belt.
When I was a kid, that's what I used to do. I put a belt on. And I can hear an echo, by the way. I can hear an echo.
Yeah, it's called
a Bat utility belt. But I used to put everything in it, like a spoon, and I put a flashlight in there, and I'd be walking around my house with this utility belt on. But I weighed like 360 pounds at 8 years old.
That's so silly too. I did stupid things like that too as a kid. I did the same exact
thing. Take a towel. Take a towel with a safety pin. Now you got a cape. I was ghetto Batman.
The interesting thing too was that Batman was originally a comic book, right?
I would assume he was originally a comic book,
but I thought it was a much stronger dark character because I think people listened to this read this as a comic book before they actually became. And there was some kind of a movie that was made with Batman and Robin before the series, and it was very serious. It was like they were really strong characters and they beating people up for real. It wasn't like. So when this was made in the 60s, this was like supposedly a campy.
It almost wasn't made because of that.
Well,
Jim will tell you that I believe that the first episode came back so bad that they almost didn't do it.
That's what I heard. Yeah, that they didn't do it, but they had already paid for it, so they did it anyway.
Yeah,
I think.
A lot of it is it was going to do it. It was 3 seasons. The 4th season, NBC was going to pick it up, and then they were going to pick it up, but the Batcave scenery, they destroyed it. So they didn't want to rebuild it again. So they didn't they didn't do the 4th season. And
I was looking up some stuff about this. The guy who did this was William Dozier.
Dozier.
And they said that back then he paid $800,000 on the Batman set and $400,000 to do that first episode that no one liked.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, $1.2 million in 1966 was it? That's a lot.
Yeah, 1966. That's a lot. And I think William Dozier was and Bill will tell you this. He'll know this. But that guy in the beginning, that would say same bad time, same bad channel. I think that was Bill Dozier.
I believe you're correct. Yeah. So I think about it too. I know you know a bunch of trivia about this, right? Now, what was it? I know one time you and I were talking. And you mentioned to me something. You said, when the Batmobile used to come out of the Batcave, there was that sign, had numbers on it or something. And I was like, you had some what was that? What
Oh,
was
the trivia. How many miles to Gotham City? So when he came out of the Batcave and then that roadblock came down, they went over it, it came back up again, and they were on their way to Gotham City. Every episode, the sign said how many miles to Gotham City. And the answer is 14 miles. And I knew that it was 14 miles. And the Facebook page that Jim Beard runs is called Gotham City 14 Miles.
That's what it was.
Gotham City is 14 miles. I think the license plate, too, I knew was like 2F3485. I'm going to take a wild guess. Jim will know that.
I'm sure Jim's going to know that.
2F3485.
Eddie Clark just said William Doza has the largest budget for a show of that type. You know, matter of fact, there was a great. There you go, 14. There was a joke too about Batman like that. Why did Batman wear the mask with this bottom of his face showing to let the cops know he was white? It's really.
You know what? That's a good way to get this show canceled.
Like, yeah, I know. I'm sure. Okay, I just remember that joke as a kid. All right,
So let's bring. We have the main characters. We can go through that. Everybody knows those. We started with the main villains, and then I started throwing in the other villains. A lot of people wanted to be these villains. A lot of people wanted to come out the window and open it up when Batman and Robin were walking up the side of a building up the bat rope.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah. So let's bring on Jim. So people don't know. I don't have a big bio here on Jim, but we don't need a big bio. But Jim,
he's a bat nerd.
Is a bat? You want to call him a bat nerd?
We're all bat. I'm a bat nerd.
I'm a bat nerd myself. I don't think I'm as nerdy as you guys about it, but I do really enjoy it. And to this day, I could sit there and watch every episode and still enjoy it.
Still,
I should have brought you on what do you think, chum?
Right. Poor deluded soul.
He did have a beautiful speaking voice. He had this really, a great speaking voice. As a matter of fact, I read something where they said that when it comes to Batman, that the producer asked him, they asked the producer, like, what kind of person we're looking for this role? And the producer said, and I quote this wording, it was, I need an actor who's prepared to play Alice in Wonderland as though it was Hamlet.
Yeah, and that's him.
And that is him.
Chum. Right.
Speaking of chum, we have here who? Jim Beard. Now, Jim Beard is the Batman aficionado, and he's here today. And we thank him for being here. He has some books out as well, which you can all get on Amazon. But first, let's bring him up here. Here's Jim, the Bat fan Beard. I'm going to put him right in the middle, right here. There he goes.
Oh, I'm a sandwich now. I see, right?
Yes.
I'm a John and Walt sandwich.
All right. What was the license plate? 2F3485.
Which one?
There was a couple of them.
There was at least 3, if I'm not mistaken. Now, damn it all! The very first thing that you asked me, and I don't know the answer to that.
I think it's 2F3485.
It probably was.
And Jim's the guy that wrote the book.
But hey, listen, everything that you said was wrong. So I have to say it right on a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah.
What did we say that was wrong?
Tell us what we're wrong.
Boy, where to start?
Oh, it's that bad.
No.
Wow.
Kind of bad, but not. It's okay. I forgive you both.
See, maybe I don't know as much as I thought I did.
Jim is like
The main thing is yes, Batman was a comic book character.
Mm-hmm.
All right, there.
Yeah, he's from 1939. So he was around for quite a while before the 66 TV series. There were 2 Batman serials, chapter plays for Saturdays, in 1943 and 1949. And then there wasn't any film or TV all the way up to 66. One of your people on here said that he was on the Superman radio show, and that's true. But there wasn't much of anything between 1949 and 1966.
But he was a dark character that was strong, like a macho-y.
No, not exactly. No, that's a little kind of a pet peeve of mine, is that a lot of people think that the 60s show brought silliness to the character, and actually the Adam West presentation of the character is fairly accurate to what Batman was up until that point. Then after that, it started to get darker.
That's not what I heard. That's not what I heard either.
Batman that we all know today in the comic books really is because of a 1986 story by Frank Miller called Dark Knight Returns, and we're still feeling the ramifications of that today. But I do this, I call it the Batman Challenge. If anybody's really interested and they really think that Batman was this, dark night and everything was serious and the TV show just came in there and ruined it all, that's absolutely not true. That's a real, legend that's out there and not really true. Here's the Batman Challenge.
Me and Jim will fight anybody who wants to take us on.
I say you both of us take it outside right now.
Okay.
Sometimes you just don't know when to get rid of a bomb.
Yeah, as long as when we punch people, it says Zowie and plunk and everything else. So real quick, here's the Batman Challenge. You go on a site called comics.org, and you can look up every title of every comic that was ever published. Put in Batman and put in Detective Comics. Those are the two long-running Batman titles. And start right around 1940 and just go to the thing called Cover Gallery and just start flipping through decades of covers. You are going to see from about 1940 all the way up to 66 some of the silliest stuff that you have ever seen.
That's not what I heard. And you see that, and now Jim, I believe you, and I'm glad you're here to tell us.
Yeah, you're wrong.
Yeah,
I'm wrong. Yeah,
you're wrong. In the 1950s, Batman actually became a science fiction character, and he was fighting aliens. He was going to other planets and had spaceships and everything imaginable. There was little like imp character that came in from another dimension and was his biggest fan, named Batmite, and there was all this. There was a dog that wore a bat mask. It was Ace the Bat Hound. There was a story where Batman got turned into a toddler known as Bat Baby. This was in the 50s and going into the early 60s. And you look at those and you say, and people think that the 60s TV show is goofy. If you watch Adam West's performance, he is Batman, what we knew as Batman up until that point. In 1970, two guys named Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams came into the comics and tried to return him to a darker thing. And they're talking about really like the first year of stories before Robin ever came into it. So 1939, basically. And they're the ones that started making the world in the comic books a little darker. But it took until the 80s for him to really become a dark character.
See, I did not know
that was an explanation. That was an explanation.
Mike,
for you, Peasy.
Mike drop, see you, bye. Okay.
All right, so let's bring up some characters to bring memories back to people who are watching this.
All right.
I will be more than happy
on everybody.
All right.
Matter of fact, so if we're modern day Batmans, who would you be, Jim? I guess who would you be if you want to? You'd be the Batman as the modern day guy, or you'd be Robin? Who would you be?
Oh, I would be Batman, definitely.
And you too?
I'd be the Adam West Batman, of course.
Yeah, the Adam West.
I'd be Joker.
Yeah.
Actually,
which one?
Yeah. Actually, you'd be.
I would be the what's his name? Heath Ledger Joker.
Okay.
Oh, really? I love that.
Yes.
Probably to me the second best Joker
after Cesar Romero.
Before I bring up,
definitely, Cesar Romero's way up here.
I think the Heath Ledger one is fantastic. But before I even bring that up, just one question. Before I bring up the pictures, just one question.
Yeah.
Batman, did he do a soft porn in the 80s?
Yes.
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 He was in one of the Happy Hooker movies.
Happy Hooker.
Okay.
Goes to Washington or something, wasn't it?
Yes, I believe that's right. But not in a sexual role. No. He did, but he's in the movie, yes.
But so he wasn't a porn star.
No, Adam got typecast, as so many of those guys, did. And there was many years after the show went off the air where he was pretty much taking whatever part came his way.
As Batman.
Yeah, and he was doing a lot of like auto shows and grocery store openings and and stuff like that. And he pushed, like a lot of these guys did. He pushed back on that the legacy of being Batman until he got to the point where he fully embraced it and realized that's what he was known for, and that's what people loved him for. And then he fully embraced it. He had a similar career path to William Shatner. In fact, they were friends. William Shatner, same thing. After Star Trek was off the show, he went into a deep depression, even to the point where he claims that he was thinking about taking his own life at one point. And Shatner got to the point where he reinvented himself, and he's today one of the big stars. What he did is he embraced comedy, and you guys will appreciate that. And Adam did the same sort of thing. He embraced doing a lot of comedic stuff because he was good at it, and the same thing with Shatner. So I always think those two really have a really incredible, parallel. They were the biggest stars in the late '60s, and then went to the bottom as soon as that was over.
That's like you, Peasy. It's like your career after America's Got Talent.
Well, actually, no. I am the Batman. If I was the Batman, I would be doing porn as well right now. If I was the
you know what Orson Welles said? Orson Welles said that he started at the top and worked his way to the bottom.
You could call me the jerker in my new porn. The thing is,
the fluffer.
The thing is with the Batman though. It seems to me that he brought something to that role that I don't think anybody could bring to that role, because he was able to be serious.
Yeah,
that voice. And all
there's a really fun quote that he was told that he was supposed to play it as serious as the dropping the bomb on Hiroshima.
Okay.
Adam claims that he got it immediately. He read the first script. He was told that, and he claims that he got exactly what they were talking about, where he was going to be this serious core to the show, and everything else around it was going to be, kind of silly or whatever. And that's absolutely true. Now, that breaks down by the time you get kind of into the second season and definitely in third season, because they went off the rails. But if you watch in that, like the first half of second season, he plays it fairly seriously, and everything, no matter what the line is, he plays it straight, and that's why it worked.
Yeah,
that's why you could never duplicate it today. A lot of people ask me, like, well, could they remake it? And it's like, no, it was this perfect storm. It was a combination of the actors, the writers, the producers, the car, the costume, the music, the sound effects, everything. And it all came together, and it burned very brightly for a very short period of time. And then it burned itself out, and it was done. And we have this perfect little, finite thing today that we call the Batman TV show.
He was also offered a role as on Her Majesty's Secret Service or something in the '60s.
He claims that he was offered the role of Bond, and I believe it was after Batman. And again, and it's not like I don't believe him, but this is what he claims, that he said that he turned to Cubby Broccoli, and said, a British actor should really play this role. I have no right as an American, playing Bond.
And then they gave it to George Lazenby.
Yeah.
Imagine
who I love. I love the Lazenby movie. But anyways, they say the '60s was the 3 Bs: Bond, Batman, and the Beatles.
Yeah. Well, all right, let me bring up some of these pictures here.
Which is weird, because it's so weird that you picked that, because I have the Beatles shirt underneath.
Please leave it all on.
Sorry.
No more.
Sorry, it's not like I showed nipple or anything.
The creepiest character out of all of the Batman ones had to be
the Riddler.
That's one of our avid guys, John Sonino.
He's one of our.
He's an avid watcher.
No, actually, all right, here's this picture. What have you? What is this, Walt? There you go.
All right, that's the two of them.
All right, now let me move. Let me shrink us down a little bit, so I don't want to go rudely over.
Yeah, just go
face.
over me.
I'll just go over you. There you go.
Thanks for putting me right near their crotches.
There you go. You're right. Yeah, that's right. And now there's I'm throwing up in my mouth. So that's a great picture of Batman and Robin. And by the way, I believe they were stopped because I heard that there was a psychologist or something that written a book about how they were sexualizing our young children with these tights on and all these bizarre.
Yeah, that's Dr. Wortham.
Yeah.
That happened in the 40s and 50s. That he started making a fuss about what comic books were doing to young minds, and it went all the way to Washington. They had a Senate subcommittee hearing on comic books, and all the publishers got up and testified. And what happened was, in fear of the business being shut down, the publishers gathered together and decided to police themselves instead of the government policing them. And they created the Comics Code Authority, which was a stamp that was put on each comic book that supposedly said to parents, there's nothing in this comic book that's...
I remember that stamp, the yellow kind of...
That went all the way up into the 90s. It's gone now, but...
It's gone.
Yeah, it's gone.
Just in case. Yeah, it's all gone. If you haven't seen the Grammy performance of Cardi B the other day, it's gone.
I heard about it. So... he attacked everything. He attacked all the EC comics for all the gore and violence, but he attacked Batman and Robin and said that they were the perfect example of a happy gay couple, and that was bad for children, of course.
Well, here, Jim, you'll know this, and John, you probably didn't, but everybody thought they were gay, so that's why they put Aunt Harriet into the show. To break up that they weren't gay.
I did not know that.
That's correct. Yeah, in the comic books, they actually had killed Alfred off, and they brought in Aunt Harriet in the comics. And they decided that would be good for the TV show for just that reason. Yeah, so it wasn't two guys living together in three guys living together in a big old house.
Alfred.
Yeah. So Madge Blake came on as Aunt Harriet, our beloved Aunt Harriet, and but she didn't make it all the way through the show. She was pretty sick by third season, ill.
Yeah.
And she died not long after the show was done, but she's barely in third season because of that.
What was this picture though? What is that? Just a?
No, that is actually from the movie. That's from the theatrical movie.
Wow. I have another one here. Everyone loves this character.
Burgess Meredith. That's Mickey. Mickey from the Rocky movies.
Yeah.
I thought it was the Penguin.
It's the Penguin. Yeah, but everybody would know it.
Here's a trivia for you. Name the other 60s TV show that had an episode that Burgess appeared as the Penguin in.
Wow.
Twilight Zone.
No, but he was in Twilight Zone a lot, though.
Twice, 2 or 3 times,
The Monkeys.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, he has a cameo as the Penguin in a restaurant.
Yeah, but the Monkeys and Batman came out just about the same time.
Yep, that's true. Right, 66. Yeah, you're right. Yep.
So Burgess Meredith was the Penguin.
Yeah, and Star Trek too. That was a beautiful time, 66, 67, and then by 69 all of that stuff was over with.
Yeah, it is a strange time, and I almost wish if I could time travel back, I'd like to visit the 40s, 50s, and 60s as an observer, because you think there's a lot of really great things, a lot of bad things too. I mean, we're in the middle. There was worried about war or nuclear war. We were worried. As a matter of fact, racism was at its high. Black people sit at the back of the bus. There was a lot of bad things that went on then too, but there was a lot of good creative content coming out, and a lot of positive change taking place, and free love.
That said, the Batman 60s TV series actually had some very positive portrayals for black actors.
That's right.
It's very interesting, and I noticed that more and more and more. There's a lot of episodes where Gotham City citizens, there are a lot of black citizens, and they're not in, menial, roles or anything like that at all. They're just in crowd scenes. There's a black reporter that shows up in the feature film and again in the series, and while he's not named, we all believe that it's the same character. And then of course Eartha Kitt as Catwoman in the third season. Yeah. So
I read that she became,
for its time, the show was progressive in that sense, that it actually had healthier, roles for black actors.
Now, I read that she was the second African American woman to be featured prominently in a mainstream television show in the United States in the 1960s. That's a big thing.
Yeah. Are you talking about after Uhura on Star Trek?
That's correct. That was the first.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But unlike William Shatner getting to kiss Nichelle Nichols, Adam West never got to kiss Eartha Kitt.
No, I don't think he even kissed Julie Newmar, did he?
No, close, but
very close.
Yeah.
You know who did? You know who did kiss her though? Governor Cuomo, and he also.
I'm gonna leave that one there. Okay.
They almost kissed. Batman and Catwoman almost kissed. Robin interrupted them, and then she said, "Why don't we kill him?" or something like that, right?
Yeah. Why don't we? What do we do with Robin? And she said, "Oh, we could just kill him." You were talking about Lee Merriweather earlier, and she was just in the feature film.
Right.
Julie couldn't be in the feature film, so they got Lee.
Right.
And then
Miss Kidka.
Right. And then Eartha came in for season 3 because again Julie was unavailable. And Frank Gorshin was unavailable.
I'll tell you who it was.
At the end of, or towards the end of second season, and they got John Astin to replace him.
Gomez.
But then they got Frank back for one episode of third season.
Yep.
We don't want to throw trivia on you, but either
that was the movie where they were making the movies, right?
For the what? Which one?
The Riddler one in season 3 was when they were doing the movie.
No, it's the boxing episode.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it's called Ring Around the Riddler.
Yeah.
Shame on you, Walt. Shame on you.
So there were 2 episodes.
No, but you know what? That's a good episode. That's first season. That's
first season at the end. Yep.
That's like the second or third Riddler episode. That has Sherry Jackson as his mom. Woo!
I don't want to surprise you guys with this, but
Star Trek too.
There's a trivia here in the chat, so either of you answer the answer is fine by me if you know.
Raise your hand if you know it.
Okay. What was Abu Rabu Simbu 2?
That was in the King Tut episode.
Yeah, that was how they opened up something, right? Aru Rabu Simbu 2.
Okay.
Wow, I think it was actually it was either like a spell or a potion or something. I hate to say it, but it is in the King Tut episode, and we do talk about that in my new book.
Another question here: are there any Batmobiles from the show still around? I think there is.
Sure.
All 4 of them are still around. In fact, the number 1 Batmobile recently sold for like $1 million. Or
didn't Charlie Sheen have one?
It was at least $1 million, and that's number 1.
Oh, by the way,
Charlie Sheen had one.
That could be there. George Barris built 4 of them. And the one got used as a touring car to go to auto shows, but the number 1 is actually a customized off of a concept car called the Lincoln Futura.
Yep.
That was in it was in a movie, and then Barris got a hold of it and modified it. It's great. If you see photos of the original car, you can see that how it became the Batmobile.
It's so cool. It's just both cars are cool.
It's the greatest car ever, as far as I'm concerned.
They're saying this guy Rick is saying here it was mind control.
Yeah. Okay. I said a potion, right?
Yes,
Yes.
you did.
Yeah.
Okay. And this guy David had come to his school in '71. Burt Ward came to school in first grade.
Wow.
That
We
must
had
have
him
been
down
very
at the
cool.
Hudson Mall. The Hudson
Wow,
Mall
that
in
was
Jersey
only
City.
that was only 3 years after the show ended. Wow.
He was still hot at that time. All right, everyone
That's
knows
great.
this character, Commissioner Gordon.
Yep. Neil Hamilton.
Neil Hamilton.
Yeah.
Here's a little bit of
great,
here's a
too.
bit of trivia. In a episode of, I think it's Perry Mason, Neil Hamilton and Yvonne Craig play stepfather and stepdaughter. And then in Batman, they play father and daughter.
That's funny.
Wow.
I did not know that.
They have the greatest chemistry between them. Third season of Batman. You got to watch them. The way they interact, they must have just loved each other dearly, because you could totally believe they're father and daughter. They have the greatest interactions and chemistry, and you believe there's like real, love between the two of them. They're just so fun to watch.
And here is
Yes, she is. Barbara Gordon and Batgirl. She used to go behind the closet closet door or whatever it was. It turned around, her makeup stand turned around, and that's where the Batgirl wig was hanging.
When they were making her costume, and they had her try on the first edition of the costume, I think it was Dozier or somebody was like, looking at it and saying, you're actually covering up the two aspects that we don't want to, you need to accentuate the two things that we need to have accentuated on that.
and
And
women.
so they cut the chest differently. You see that seam below her breast there? Yeah. They cut that specifically like that, so that she'd be a little more prominent.
But women's bras back then, it looks like they came to her like a torpedo front.
Yeah, that's the old bullet bra.
I like the bullet bra.
That was still cool. Around, but she was actually a dancer, and you can totally see it in the show. Yeah. All of her moves, are like balletic, and she only kicked. She never punched anybody. She only kicked people.
See that?
Because a woman shouldn't, ball up her fist and punch anybody.
Right, and
she danced on the beach episode, right? The beach episode with, what was their names? Commissioner Gordon, Chief of Harrow, Buzzy and
Buzz and Skip, or it's something like
Buzzy and Skip or something like
Buzzy.
that.
Yeah, and they said
were incognito.
They said all surfers have those names, and so that's why they took those.
Now, would this be politically incorrect today to have the Irish cop as chief of police?
No, I don't think so. No. It is a stereotype, but I think we should all watch tomorrow on St. Patrick's Day. We should all watch a Chief O'Hara episode.
Works for me.
Chief O'Hara, Stafford rep.
Yeah.
All right, how about this now? This is okay.
Yeah.
That's right?
That's first episode of second season. That's
second season.
Yeah, Art Carney as the Archer. It was a very strange choice to begin the second season. It's an original villain made for the show, and it's I'll be kind and say it's not a favorite episode.
Me neither.
It's
It's not a villain.
It's not good.
That's not a villain. This is a villain.
Steal the money. He used to steal the money from the rich and give it to the poor, right?
Right. Yeah, and one of his henchmen carried a boom box around, and it had the sound of a crowd.
The sound effect of cheering
on it, and he'd hit it, and it would go, and then Archer would say, "Cut it right there," and
crowd applause.
At the end of the episode, like during the fight, the boom box got broken, and he didn't have the
almost
cheering.
like wrestling on some level, isn't it? How about this guy?
Lord Fogg.
Fogg.
That's the great Rudy Valley.
Lived in Londinium.
Yeah, in Londinium. Here's another trivia for you. His co-villain was Lady Penelope Peasoup.
Yeah, Penelope Peasoup.
That's Glynis Johns, and she's still alive. She's one of the few villains that is still alive. There's a small handful. I think it's down to 4 now, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, who's still alive? Julie Newmar.
Julie Newmar, John
Glynis
Aston, Glynis Johns, and I believe Barbara Rush is still with us.
Barbara Rush was Nora Clavicle.
Nora Clavicle, yeah. And what is considered to be the worst episode of the entire show.
Wow.
And also...
that was bad.
Joan Collins is still with us, I believe. She's the siren.
Yeah,
After that, and Lee Merriweather is still with us, of course.
Yes, the movie.
Yeah, after that, I believe everybody is gone. Cliff Robertson is gone now.
Shame.
Yeah, Malachi Throne is gone now.
That was Full Face.
False Face, yeah. There's a lot of the Malls still with us. Quite a few of the Malls are still alive because they were younger girls, at that time. Burt is still with us, thank goodness. And incredibly, Yvonne is gone, and that was quite
just about 3 years ago, right?
It was a little longer than that. It's more like 4 or 5 now. But that was a shock because outside of her family and her immediate circle, no one knew that she was ill, and it was quite a shock. I had the great pleasure of meeting her, and she's was a beautiful person, just so gracious. And Lee is the same way. Lee, you look up lady in the dictionary, and there's a picture of Lee Merriweather because she's a lady through and through.
Hey, what was your favorite evil villain from these shows, Jim?
No contest there. It's the Riddler, played by Frank Gorshin.
And you, Walt?
I'll go with that. I'll go Riddler also.
Yeah, he's incredible. You have to watch every last little thing that he does, and you would almost believe that Frank Gorshin really was a criminal. I always like to say when I talk about Batman that I wouldn't necessarily mind being in the same room with Cesar Romero's Joker, but I would not want to be in the same room as Frank Gorshin's Riddler because I don't know if I'm going to get out of that room alive. He is manic in that show, and you can see it in his eyes. And you really have to watch what he does with his hands.
He's like a young Jim Carrey.
He does that all the time.
Yeah,
I will.
Yeah. I have the perfect victim. I have the perfect. But he's really incredible in that show, and it's a shame that he didn't make it. Much past the season 1, but when we do get him, like I said, he's just incredible. You believe that he's evil, that he really is wicked, and maybe Frank Gorshin was. I don't know. I didn't.
Maniacal.
But wasn't he an actor that came out of like vaudeville or something?
No. He actually stand up. He was an impersonator.
Yeah.
And stand-up comedian, and used to do variety shows and the game shows and things like that. And then in acting,
John, he did a lot of guest spots.
He was on the Monsters. There was one week of the show that I think it's on the same night or the same week. He's on an episode of Batman and he's on an episode of the Monsters. Same exact time.
Cool.
He is so creepy with his malls. That's another thing you got to watch. You would never believe that most of the other villains were sleeping with their malls, but you would totally believe that the Riddler was actually sleeping with his malls.
Molly, right? Molly was the one that went into the back.
Molly was the first one. Bill St. John. Yep. One of the only characters to actually die in the show.
She fell into the bat generator or something.
Yeah, and Adam claims he ad-libbed. He said, "What a way to go."
Yeah, right.
Well, didn't he stutter when he said it though?
No, he literally just says, and he claims that everybody on the set wasn't ready for that because he ad-libbed it, and they started looking at each other and saying, "Wait, that's not right, is it?" You know, they were questioning, but they kept it. You know,
Speaking of ad lib, I read somewhere too that on the very first episode when they came out and did the Batusi dance, that was like an improv thing too.
That was with Joe St. John.
I know that Adam says that he came up with the movements. Whether or not he rehearsed it or not, you know, I'm not sure. But he is supposedly the originator of, you know, all the whole thing.
It's hilarious.
He did that in the King Tut episode.
Speaking of Abu Rabu, you know, Sim or whatever, that's the only other time that the Batusi is repeated.
Yeah, he was in the King Tut
episode. Yeah, they put Batman and he gets the pebble torture.
Yeah,
where the pebbles are dropping down on his head, and it supposedly, you know, makes him
makes you go crazy.
And he does the Batusi again, and it's even better in the King Tut episode than it is.
John, what's good about that is when he gets those pebbles on there, you're supposed to go crazy, and the girl was. But Batman, Adam West went out there as Batman, and he was doing the Batusi and having a good time, and then all of a sudden he started punching all of the villains, and at the end when Robin asked him, "How did you not, you know, become crazy from the pebbles?" What did he do? He said he counted backwards or something like that.
It's either that or he did mathematical calculations in his head or something.
And it stopped him from going crazy.
Like that. Yeah.
Now, the same thing, the Batusi was also later on used with John Travolta in the movie. What's the name of that movie?
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction. That was taken off of that.
Very famously, yeah. You know, it's funny. I don't know if we'd be talking about the Batusi today if it wasn't for that movie.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Now, who is this strange guy? You know, when it came to this, there were 3 or 4 of the villains that I really like. I remember thinking they're great villains, and there's a lot of them that were just like, you know, like the Archon one and everything. Like this guy,
That's
that was a 3-part episode too, right?
Yeah, that's in 3rd season.
Mad Hatter. David Wayne.
What's it?
David Wayne.
David. I keep saying Patrick. That's a different actor. David Wayne is the Mad Hatter. He had two episodes as the Mad Hatter. Oh, he had a great device. The top of his hat flipped open and it had these little eyeballs, and it zapped people and hypnotized them.
Who thought of this stuff? Think about it. You had to be smoking pot in the 60s. Going, hey,
Mad Hatter is directly from the comic books, and in fact, the episode that's called The 13th Hat is the story is one of the few that's directly lifted from the comics. It's an episode where the Mad Hatter wants to get revenge on all the jurors that sent him to prison, and so he starts kidnapping each one of them to do that.
That's and takes their hats.
Yeah,
their hats.
And then he actually, there's an episode called The Contaminated Cowl where he gets. He irradiates Batman's cowl so he can get it, and it turns pink. So Batman has a pink cowl on. They literally took one of the prop cowls and painted it pink. Yeah,
I remember that episode.
It's bright pink.
How about this lady, the Black Widow?
Miss Tallulah Bankhead.
She was a big star back then in the 50s, man.
Yeah, she was, 40s, 30s, I believe. 30s, 40s, and into the 50s. She was a huge star. And she demanded to be billed as Miss Tallulah Bankhead.
Wow. Now, here's a creepy character. Now, I remember being disturbed about this guy.
This is number 2. Yeah, this is Mr. Freeze.
There were 3 of them, right? There were 3 different characters.
Yeah, that's Otto Preminger, who was a famous director. He's more known as a director than an actor, and he comes in an episode called Green Ice. He takes over for George Sanders. George Sanders was in season 1, and he's actually my favorite Mr. Freeze. But Otto Preminger comes in, and he has his thick, German accent, and he has these bushy red eyebrows that are just crazy. And every time something happened, he goes wild,
absolutely wild.
Yeah,
I do remember watching one of these episodes and actually feeling bad for the Dr. Freeze character. I don't know which episode or if it
Mister.
Mr.
Freeze.
Mr. Freeze.
He's-
Mr. Freeze was
he's-
the truck that came and brought ice cream to my neighborhood.
He's actually based on a Batman comic book villain called Mr. Zero. And then the show called him Mr. Freeze, and then the comic books adapted the Mr. Freeze name.
Now, what about...
Supposedly Otto Preminger did it just for his grandkids.
Yeah, that
He wanted
happened
to-
a lot, where a lot of these people said that they did it because their children or their grandchildren, said that they'd never speak to them again unless they were on Batman. Otto Preminger is not well remembered on the Batman set. He was supposedly a huge pain in the ass.
Really?
As the director, he wanted to start directing everything and tell everybody how to to do this and that. And he actually started giving Madge Blake grief, if I'm not mistaken. And Adam went and put Preminger in his place again, allegedly.
He had one of the greatest all-time capers, which I thought was great, and I loved when this episode came on because he came to a dinner party. I think it was at Bruce Wayne's house, and he made everybody get into the fountain.
Yep.
And then he froze the water in the fountain, so their feet, they were stuck inside the fountain, and then that's how he robbed them.
Right, yeah. And he had a
Brilliant.
He had a fake Batman and Robin come in
Yes.
and fall all over themselves to make
Yeah.
to make it look like Batman and Robin were idiots.
How about this villain?
King Tut.
Yeah. Victor Buono. I am the only person on the face of the earth that does not like Victor Buono as King.
I
as
do
King
not.
Tut.
I do not like the episodes. I don't like them.
Yeah.
I don't like him either.
Here's why. I compare him to Milton Berle as Louis the Lilac.
Louis the Lilac was great.
Victor Buono was a serious actor. Milton Berle was a comedian. When they both came on the show, they did the opposite of who they were. Milton Berle plays Louis the Lilac completely straight. There is no comedy in it whatsoever. Buono comes on the show, and he plays it completely comedic, which to me violates the show. He actually has little asides, and he breaks into this W.C. Fields voice every once in a while, and it's all kind of one-liners, and he's trying to be funny. And that's not the point of the show. You went on it and you played it straight, and it becomes camp.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
I
wasn't a fan.
I can't, and it's too bad because it's a really interesting setup. He's the only villain that really is not responsible for what he does because he's a Yale professor who gets hit on the head and thinks that he's an ancient Egyptian pharaoh, and that happens every time he's on the show. Is that something makes him get hit on the head and he starts going around and doing crimes. And they say that all the time, like he's not responsible for what he does. And I love that. That's a really great setup. In fact, he's one of the few villains that actually has a real name. He's Professor McElroy, or something like that on the show. And it's a real shame because it's a really great setup and all the Egyptian motif and everything, but I can't stand the way he plays it. And I don't know why they allowed him to play it. And he came back a lot.
He's the only one that found out that Bruce Wayne was Batman. He broke into the Batcave.
Yeah,
actually,
I like that episode. That's a good one. He actually tunnels into the Batcave, and he's one of the few villains who goes into the Batcave. And I love all the episodes where that happens, where somebody else other than Batman, Robin, or Alfred goes into the. There's a great one where Commissioner Gordon goes into the Batcave, and then Catwoman is taken into the Batcave at one point too.
Speaking of which,
there they are, all three of them.
Yeah, give me the one in the middle.
Me too.
That's Lee Merriweather. Yeah.
Lee,
I got to tell you, I like the first one, Julie Newmar.
I like them both.
You know what? And you know what? There's no denying that Julie is Catwoman, and I love her, and I won't. The problem is that Lee gets short shrift all the time. People either talk about Julie or Eartha, and that's well founded. I get that, but Lee gets short shrift for one reason and one reason only: for not being Julie.
Yeah.
She's constantly compared to Julie, and it's totally unfair because she does a wonderful job. In fact, I'll go so far as to say, if you watch the theatrical film, she acts more like a cat than Julie ever does in all of her episodes.
But what made Eartha Kitt great was the way she spoke.
Yes.
Eartha Kitt.
Oh, Eartha Kitt.
Yeah,
Walt
she really
filled that outfit out.
she rolled the R's and
R. Yeah, it made her.
Yeah. But it's unfortunate because when Eartha comes in, they drop the whole subplot thing about Batman being attracted to Catwoman and Catwoman being attracted to Batman.
And she couldn't do the episode without the Joker in it. If you remember, the Joker was in that episode.
Yeah, she
out of prison,
was waiting for the Joker to get out of jail and out of prison, and they ride away in the kitty car.
But it had that big tail on the back of it, right?
Yeah, and it was some kind of, again, one of these weird concept cars that they dressed up like a big cat and called it the kitty car.
That's right. That's right. How about this?
Oh, my favorite.
Yeah, I like Roddy McDowall.
This is, to me, this is another one of the shames of the show. This is Roddy McDowall as the Bookworm, another original villain for the show. One appearance and one appearance only, and it's a real shame because I love him. It's such an interesting character. It's such a good episode, and he's just totally batshit crazy as the Bookworm. What he is he's a frustrated writer. And he just there's moments where he just wigs out on people, and it's just really wonderful. And that suit that he's wearing is made of leather. They actually made this full leather suit for him.
Look at that coat again, John. Look at that coat again.
Because what they wanted him to look like an old book, a leather-bound book.
If you look on his hat too, John, it had a little a lamp, so he could read. It had a light on it.
Character, and Roddy McDowall was in a lot of great movies too.
Flexible things.
Yep.
You know what? I look back. Is Roddy McDowall still alive?
No,
he's not.
Oh, too bad. No.
He played Cornelius in the Planet of the Apes.
Fantastic movies. Yeah. By the way, as Jim speaks about the characters and the villains, you can see in his eyes the love for this.
He loves. You have a love there, Jim.
You can see, like, it's almost like he wants to take off a ring and say, "Would you marry me?" to the characters.
You are
all right. You got me. Yeah, I'm trying to hide the fact that I'm a Batman fan, but
well, you're too young to be a fanboy. So I'm
no,
say you're.
I was actually 9 months old when the show premiered.
Wow!
So I don't have memories of watching it first run, but I can at least say that I was alive, at that time. But and when I was 14 months old, you know what a baby book is?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we used to have these things called baby books, and our mothers would write everything down as we were growing up. My mother made this incredible entry. It says 14 months old, dances to record Batman. So really? At 14 months old, my dad had the Neil Hefti Batman theme on a 45, and he'd play that, and I guess I would dance around at home, and that's one of my most favorite things from my childhood.
You were into it.
Is that at 14 months old, I was a Batman fan.
What about this character here?
Vincent Price's Egghead.
Loved him. I didn't like the character, but I loved Vincent Price.
Yeah, it doesn't fulfill its promise. Egghead is supposed to be the smartest villain ever. And
but you got a big head.
It's not fulfilled in the show. I love the fact
throw
that
eggs at each other.
It's he had a co-villain named Olga.
Olga, the Queen of the Cossacks. And Baxter, who played the second part.
And it's I mean, it's incredible that somebody like Vincent Price ended up on that show. You know, that's
Didn't
that
everybody
in
want to be on that
itself
show? All
is
celebrities
incredible.
wanted to be on the Batman series.
Yeah.
I mean, it got to the point where everyone wanted to come on and do a cameo.
Yeah. Egghead had an ascot or like a tie thing right here that was supposed to look like a poached egg.
Yes.
We're running out of time. Let me buzz through these real quickly and
Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
That's quite all right.
Yeah, Malachi Throne as False Face. He was
Creepy.
billed as a question mark until the very last, at the end of the very last episode, it revealed his name.
Yep. So when they say special guest villain, false face,
yeah,
and that has question mark. So
and until that last episode aired, everybody was trying to guess who it was, and the main contender was Frank Sinatra.
yeah, everybody thought it was Sinatra. Yeah,
Frank Sinatra wanted to be on this show. He was pushing to be on the show, was he not?
I've heard that. Yep.
Yeah. Now this character is one of the Mr. Freezes.
Eli Wallach.
I don't remember this one.
Yeah, he's third season. Or yes. No, yes.
And this guy?
That's the first
George
season,
Sanders.
George Sanders.
He's number one. And he's number one with me too.
So to me, this is number one then.
Okay.
Yes, I like that episode. But the George Sanders episode was the episode I liked where he had Batman and Robin in a room, and wherever it was blue, it was cold, but it can also make it red, and it was warm, like instantly.
Yeah.
We should have named this "Three Guys That Can't Get Laid" episode. All right, let me buzz through this. Walt, what is this?
That was Batman during the quarantine.
Look at that.
That was during 2020, the COVID, right? The COVID.
There's actually a 1950s or very early 60s Batman comic book story where there's a character named Fat Man who is a circus clown that dresses, a very large man who dresses up as Batman and becomes known as Fat Man in his act, and he ends up helping Batman on a case, and it looks very much like this guy.
Let me buzz through a couple of these here. Now
that's Walter Schlesick as the Clock King.
Clock King makes clocks. He put He tried to kill Batman and Robin in hourglass, right? In an hourglass.
Yes, yes, I believe that. Yeah.
All right.
Louis the Lilac.
Yeah. Milton Berle.
Louis the
Best part of that episode was when they took the little pills and they had the water, and he says, "Let me have the 2 glasses of warm water," and he had these pills, and he took them out, and they turned into their bat costumes, and that's how they became Batman and Robin.
Yeah, instant expanding bat costumes.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. Shelley Winters.
Shelley Winters.
What did she play?
Ma Parker.
Parker.
Or
okay.
It's late. Van Johnson as the minstrel. Another one-off villain, but a big favorite of mine.
Really? See, I wasn't happy about this. I was like, it wasn't, I don't know. That's not a villain to me.
He's an electronics genius that is supposed to be better at electronics than Batman himself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I guess they had the song, if I remember, was Batman and Robin rotate and revolve.
Yeah.
When it gets hot, their bodies dissolve. When it gets hotter, they begin to melt. Nothing left but their utility belts.
Good.
Bravo.
Wow. I don't even think I could have done that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Cliff Robertson is Shame.
Shame with Front Tab Fanny.
That was great. That was a great episode. I do remember really enjoying that.
And then when he came back, he had his wife Dina Merrill come on as his Maul.
Who was the little kid? Billy, right? Transistor radio.
Not Billy. It's
Bobby.
That's terrible. Stop testing me.
It'll come to you.
I think it was the little boy that was in the Poseidon Adventure.
Now,
yes, it is him though. Nora Clavicle and her Women's Crime Club.
Wow.
Yeah, she took over for Commissioner Gordon on like a loophole.
Yeah, and the woman behind her is, I believe, Warden Crichton's wife, and she becomes the new chief of police.
By the way, neither of you guys have that red phone that lights up, do you? That would be really cool.
I would love to.
I'd like to have that myself. That'd be a really cool phone to have.
You know what? I'm gonna look on Amazon tomorrow.
Let's order 2. Let's get 3 of them.
They haven't made an official prop of it that you can get an official Shakespeare bust for the button to open the doors.
Oh, is that right?
But I don't think they've actually made an official bat phone yet.
Okay.
Why?
How? Well, now there's a market right there. How about this lovely lady?
That's
Olga, the Queen of the Casa. She also played a magician. Zelda, right?
Zelda, yeah. One of the few actors to play 2 different villains on the show.
Yeah, she hung Aunt Harriet over like boiling water.
Yes, she did. Yeah, that was the cliffhanger of that episode.
Yeah,
Burt Ward.
Boy,
right?
He was 21. He was 21. And he played a 14-year-old in the first season.
I think it said in here he was making $350 a week.
That's correct.
Could be.
That was pretty meager in comparison to. But let me ask you a question though. There was 34 episodes in that season. What was his name before he became Burt Ward? It was Burt what?
Jervis.
Oh, correct.
Yeah,
right?
Burt, and it was Berton, Burton Jervis.
Okay. Here we go.
Junior, I believe Junior.
Here's some.
Lyle Waggoner.
Lyle Waggoner was auditioned and almost had the part of Batman instead of Adam West.
Well, maybe everybody wanted Adam West. Dozier wanted Adam West. But they knew that the suits would not allow one choice. So they filmed a test with Lyle Waggoner because they knew that they had to have at least 2. They showed both the tests to them, and Dozier knew what was coming next. The suits turned to him and they said, well, which one do you like? And he said, Adam West. And they said, okay, Adam West. So It was kind of a trick that he pulled.
Wasn't going to get in either way.
Yeah. And then Lionel Wagner became Steve Travis in the Wonder Woman with Linda Carter.
Steve Trevor, right.
Trevor.
Yeah. And then years later, Adam and Burt did a TV special called Return to the Batcave.
Sorry.
And there was a secret mystery villain throughout the entire special. And at the very end, you find out it's Lyle Waggoner trying to get back at Adam for stealing the part away from him.
Don't you think things were nicer and more fun when we were kids for some
reason?
Oh, yeah.
Right? I mean, I feel like, we didn't have iPads, you didn't have internet, we weren't being able to do video conferencing and stuff, which would be so cool. We thought that in the future we'd have flying cars and all this stuff, and we don't have any of these things. But what we do have in comparison, we had a bigger, vivid imagination. Yep. We had more of a wide variety of choices of using our head. And it seems today, like, I don't know, it seems like it's missing. I sound like an old man, but I don't think it's as good as it used to be.
Hey, John and Jim, I do have a question. Out of all the episodes, what is the one, if you watched it that day and it came on, you felt like you got the golden ticket? There was one episode that I just, if I caught it, I felt like I won.
Oh, the Green Hornet.
That's it. Put him up.
That was the next picture I was bringing up.
Walt. It's not very good.
I loved it. I loved it because
I know, it has a very, unfortunately, not very good villain in it.
Oh, the villain was what was his name? Colonel Gum.
Colonel Gum. Yeah.
Colonel Gum turned them all into stamps.
Turned the Green Hornet and Kato into stamps. Yes.
That was your favorite one, huh?
That was my favorite one because Batman and Batman and Robin were the superheroes, but Green Hornet and Kato were also superheroes, but they didn't like each other. They didn't trust each other, but they had to work together to get Colonel Gum.
Yeah.
With Penelope Pink, I think the girl's name was, right? The one with the little pink dog?
Pinky Pinkston.
Pinky Pinkston.
In the Pink Stamp company. Green Hornet showed up 3 times in the show, and each time it was different. He showed up in a window cameo, when they climbed up the buildings. And when he pops out of the window, Batman acknowledges him as a superhero.
Didn't he call him Britt Reed?
No, but he acknowledges him as a superhero. There's also an episode where Bruce and Dick are sitting down to watch the Green Hornet TV show. So suddenly the Green Hornet is a fictional character. And then when the Green Hornet and Kato actually appear in a full episode, they're as they should be, which are they're thought of as villains.
See, now I thought I took this seriously.
No, look how much you've learned, Walt.
No,
but I knew that was going to happen.
Walt's doing great. Walt's doing great.
He's doing great. Walt,
the reason that Walt loved that episode was because you didn't get just 2 superheroes. You got 4 superheroes.
That's right.
And back in the 60s and 70s, the more superheroes, the better.
I thought he was great. And didn't they figure out some kind of a clue where Batman took the alphabet soup and he put it in his bat? He put it in his bat
Colonel
thermos.
Gunn keeps eating alphabet soup, and
it left a clue.
He has a bat thermos. It's like this big, and it comes out of his utility belt. And he has a little whisk broom to
a little whisk broom
in the back.
And then he takes it back
and
to
they
the bat computer.
They pour the soup into the bat computer, and Batman tells Robin that he's put an adapter, a bat
That's great.
adapter unit because it
was liquid.
The computer otherwise would have problems digesting the noodles.
And then figured it out from the alphabets, the letters in the alphabet.
Yeah, Pinky is kidnapped, and she leaves a message in the alphabet soup.
That is hilarious.
I remember that. Hey, let's real quick with this. My favorite.
Yeah, let's do it.
My favorite character.
Yeah, Cesar Romero.
He was great.
John, there's a part you probably don't know about that. He refused to shave his mustache off. So if you look under the white makeup, you could see his mustache.
Yeah. Yes, you can.
And total honest truth, I never noticed
Never did either.
Never. I remember the first time I heard that, and I said, "What the hell are you talking about?" And
that's right. Me too.
Now if you watch it, you can't not see it.
That's right.
Yeah, right. I guess you're right. But you want to know something? As a kid, I remember his laugh was so great.
Maniacal.
It's one of the greatest laughs. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you move ahead 40 years later, and then you see what they did with Heath Ledger. I watched Heath Ledger, that part when he walked up and down and got banged up in the room with Batman beating him up and everything, and the way he was insane. I watched that when he was getting inside with the police were interrogating him.
Yeah.
And he said, I watched that scene. I rewound it and watched it like, I don't know, 7, 8 times because I kept thinking he was so realistic and so on point and so like he really appeared like a lunatic of a man. I remember thinking this guy's the greatest actor in the world. I watched that movie several times. And so you go from this Cesar Romero and you move 40 years to this guy and you realize, now it's a darker, the franchise has changed to a much more deeper thinking kind of machine. It's really an amazing growth between one campy thing to the other. It really is.
Yeah.
Jim, do not let him fool you, Jim, that he thinks Heath Ledger is a great actor, not because of the Joker. He loved him in Brokeback Mountain.
Was he really? I didn't even know he Brokeback Mountain. Was he really?
Okay, but
I never watched. You watched Brokeback Mountain?
He was in Brokeback Mountain.
How do you know you watched? I didn't even know that.
I saw it. It's a
Did
great
you really
love
watch
story.
it?
It's a great love story.
Did you really?
Two cowboys.
You really watched it? Oh my God! I didn't. I know what it's about now, but I didn't even know that was the guy in it. And honestly, I could not watch that.
You could watch it.
I'm not being homophobic or anything. I couldn't watch it. I couldn't. I
tried it.
I couldn't.
Netflix. It's on Netflix.
I couldn't watch it. I really couldn't. It's disturbing.
I couldn't watch it after the 18th time.
As a matter of fact, his hand is in his crotch as he's watching it below.
Sorry.
Anyway, this is my favorite character, but Brokeback Mountain did do something good for society. It allows people to be acceptable of other people.
Sure.
It's all good. So you see that's my adage to this.
Hang out one more and then we got to go.
Yeah, I don't mean. By the way, I didn't mean to. Walt, I didn't mean to offend you.
Right? So angry about this.
Yeah, I know you are. So this no more. Just more importantly, just a couple of quick trivia things. And Walt, you go.
And then let's plug his books.
Yeah, I will. But then you go for the trivia first. You ready? The creator of Batman. Who is it, Walt?
Bill Dozier.
No.
Well,
tell him, Jim.
Well, the show or the character?
Kane.
The character, yeah,
That's
it's
correct.
Bob Kane and Bill Finger.
Okay.
Okay. Parents of Batman.
Martha is the mother, and the father is oh my God, Thomas.
Dr. Thomas.
Dr. Thomas
Thomas and Martha Wayne.
Wayne. Okay. The Batmobile, the most iconic element of the series. The original car of the show was modified by Lincoln Futura. The Batmobile sold at an auction in 2013 and fetched a massive how much?
$99,000.
$4.2 million.
4.2, yeah.
Can you believe
right.
that? How many episodes of Batman were there in the series?
Oh, I know this. 120.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 120. I thought it was.
Well, it depends on if you count two-parters as 2 episodes or not.
Oh, but so what's the answer?
I'd have to do it in my head. I'm not sure.
They were
It's
34
120 half-hour episodes.
34 episodes per season.
No, there's not that. There's not that. First season is only 17 episodes.
I went on Wikipedia. It said Batman consists of 34 episodes per season, with 2 episodes airing each week.
Well, okay, yes, right. 17 times 2 is 30. There's 34, but I don't.
Right, the half-hour
it's
episodes.
one.
There's 120.
Yeah, I don't count two-parters as.
I got to give.
count it as one.
I got to give him the kudos on it. Then maybe the movie Batman Returns was directed by whom?
Tim Burton.
Both of you. In which Batman film did Jim Carrey star as the Riddler?
Batman Forever.
You guys are too scary. It's too scary. Anyway, let's get on with his book. All right. So, Jim Batfan Beard has written 2 books that are on Amazon. And the first book, is it the blue one? Is the first one that came out?
The blue one's the first one. Yeah.
Okay. And let me bring this up if you guys like to see this. There it is. Zlonk, Zoc, and Zoe.
Zowie.
The Subterranean Blue Go-To Guide to Batman.
Grotto.
60. Oh, Grotto, right, the Grotto. Have you been, by the way, somebody put in there, have you been to the actual cave spot where they taped it from?
No, but I have a piece of it. Somebody actually gifted me with an actual piece from that cave.
You son of a bitch. I am so jealous.
I might have a piece of Julie, what's her name?
Julie Newmar's costume.
Yeah, Julie Newmar. All right, so this is the first book. The first book came out, and this one is basically what, Jim?
Putting it mildly, it's an episode guide to season 1, but it's much more than that. I have a different essayist who comes in and covers every single episode, one for each episode, and we just go into the greatest things. We approach it from all different angles. It's like no episode guide for the show that has ever been done.
Excellent. And then the second book that you created was Biff Bam Eow.
Yeah, and that's for season 2. This is brand new. It just came out on Thursday.
And you are able,
Thursday.
And you're allowed to use the likeness of
it's nonfiction, and it's critical review, critical thinking, whatever. That comes under fair use.
That's wonderful.
That you can't do.
So Jim, your third book, who are you going to put on it? Batgirl?
Huh?
The third book, you're going to put Batgirl on it?
Yes, it's going to be purple, and it's going to be Batgirl.
That's great.
Awesome.
And if you want to get the books from Jim Beard, you go to where? Amazon.com and
Amazon,
go to Beard.
Yeah, just put in my name, and those will come up right away.
And that's what I did.
Both,
I put it
in print and in ebook.
That is so cool. Even in an ebook, you can get it down. And Jim, is there any place that we can come to? People want to contact you because you are the Batman fan.
Yeah, sure. On Facebook, you can go to Gotham City 14 Miles. Actually, that's my very first book on Batman is Gotham City 14 Miles. Okay. Yeah, and that came out in 2010, and then Zlonk Zowie was last year, and then Biff Bam Eow is this year. But there's a page for it, so you can go there. There's a fan page for me called the Jim Beard fan page. And then on Twitter, I'm at writer Jim Beard, all one word.
On Twitter. And if we want to visit you, what's your home address or phone number? I'm only kidding. I was only kidding. I wanted your
It's a P.O. box, and it's only this big.
Well, that's excellent. You are nice enough to come on.
Really
here.
great.
And we want to do this again because we really didn't get through as much as we want to. We went over 20 minutes, and I still got so much more we want to.
You know what? Let's do another episode somewhere down the road. We'll contact Jim.
Yeah, we have to act out an entire episode of the show, right?
Works for me.
Okay,
I can do that.
Works for me. I'm going to be the Joker.
I'll do that. I'll be Chad and Jeremy.
Oh, here I got one last trivia question for you guys.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
You talked about Bill Dozier doing the announcer's voice, right? There was actually a name for that character, the announcer.
I thought it was announcer.
No, it's not.
Wow.
It's not said in the show, but it is. He has an official name.
You got me.
Got me.
It's Desmond Doomsday.
I had no idea.
Wait, how do you know that?
Because I'm me.
Well, where does it say?
How do I know
that? Somewhere? Does it say it somewhere?
What?
Does it say it somewhere?
Yeah, if you write a book.
Yeah, and about any book on Batman, you'll find that.
It's in your book that you didn't read. There.
It'll be in those books too. He wasn't supposed to be the announcer. They kept testing people, and he didn't like anybody. And he said, "No, it should be done like this." And he did a test thing of himself, and everybody, the whole crew, and everybody said, "Well, that's perfect. Why don't you just do it?" So he ended up being the guy to do it.
And by the way,
he hated comic books.
Really?
That's funny. By the way, just one last thing, and then we got to go. I promise we got to go, John. Is how did the Batmobile get to Londinium?
Oh, in a crate on a boat.
That's what they did.
Yep.
Hey,
Walt,
what African town did Batman go to?
The African town?
Cape Town. Cape Town, South Africa, Cape Town. Hey, anyway, listen, if you guys like this silliness and this show on Cool Crap We Love, if you like three guys that can't get laid that know a lot about 1966, go down to that button at the bottom and smash the like button.
For
and
yourself.
if you like, please subscribe. And if you want to see all of the shows, where are they?
YouTube.com, and we're also on BitChute. You could find us on Facebook, and where's the other place?
A Clout Hub.
Cloud Hub. We put it on Odyssey. We put it all over the place.
What'd you say, Clown Hub?
Clout Hub.
Are you sure?
You know,
all over.
There's a bunch of places that people don't watch us
down. But when they start taking us down off of YouTube.com, Cool Crap We Love, you can find us in the other places because maybe we said something. But Jim, that was too much fun. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was a blast. It was a
fun. I'd
blast.
love to do it again. There's Jim.
Where else do I get to talk about all this crap?
Good point.
That's a perfect end right there.
Leave me reviews. Please leave us reviews.
I wish you much masturbation. Take care.
Speak for yourself.
All right, we'll see you next week, guys.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you. Take care now.